Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com, and I just want to share with you a situation that just happened to me and really does a good job of illustrating why day traders fail because of situations like this, which again, I'm not talking in theory here. I'm not saying, well, I read it in a book once and the author says that this is what could happen. Nothing like that. No theory. This literally happened to me today. Now, when this video goes public, it won't be the same day, but I did want to get this recorded on the very same day that at least happened to me so that I can kind of just walk you through these thoughts and emotions when they're still fresh in my mind. But that is actually the whole backbone of why day trading is so difficult. Not because you got to learn stuff, but because there's so many emotions, there's so many feelings, and there's just such a mental struggle from a psychology standpoint that plays out. And the situation that happened to me today really just illustrates how ridiculous, how crazy things can be, but ultimately how good the voices in your head can be. Now, that may sound crazy if you've never traded with real money, but I assure you, if you are a beginner day trader and maybe you've just been doing stuff in the simulator, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but what I am saying is that you do have voices in your head, and these voices are going to come to visit you once you start to trade with real money. Now, I realize maybe some of these voices can kind of come out a little bit if you're in a simulator or just doing some demo trading, but you're never going to meet the voices full force until you put real money on. And those voices are oh so good at trying to trick you, trying to make you feel certain ways, and then based on those feelings, cause you to go and do things that you should not be doing. And unfortunately, that is going to be why a lot of day traders fail, is not because, it's so hard to learn day trading. It's because it's so hard to identify. It's so hard to deal with the voices that exist. And like I said, they are just so tricky. And hopefully you're not going to struggle, in this sort of situation, like I struggled. Now to give myself a little bit of credit, I was able to identify the emotions. I was able to, figure out how to not let this come into play. But the whole point is it tried. The voices showed up. They tried to make me feel a certain way. They did make me feel a certain way. But again, in my defense, at least I was able to recognize it and hold off on these voices. And if it can help you out, if it can at least help you be aware of how tricky things can be, then I will consider this a success here. So like I said earlier, no theory here. This literally just happened to me, as of the recording of this video. So what happened to set up the context here was, what we're looking at the screen here is my private community that I offer. And you can see that this morning I had my watch list up here like I do every morning, and I had on it both Facebook right there and then MRNA as a couple of the stocks. And then the market ultimately opened up, so I started to make some alerts, and I made two specific alerts. I say specific because at least I gave some price areas that I was actually looking at. Now, these other situations were more so just kind of general context type situations, but here with Facebook, I alerted 350 as a flush point, meaning thinking the price could go down. And just really quickly, if you're a beginner just getting started, you can make money when prices are going down. That's known as shorting a stock, being short. If you're playing options, that would be a put option. But yeah, as crazy as it sounds, you can make money when prices go down. But here mentioned Facebook 350 as a flush point, and then right there, MRNA 429 as a flush point. So made two alerts. Assign some pricing values to them. And, long story short, eventually I ultimately did trade Facebook. So here we are looking at Facebook, and that green line there represents 350, which as you just saw, I alerted as one of those areas to keep in mind. And from that area would want to see the price go down in order to make money. So as I scroll through, you're going to see exactly what happens. So you can see right there, a very, very nice break of 350. And you can see the price ultimately did drop down very nicely. And then yes, the price did start to recover back upwards. But the point here was that, hey, you know what? I alerted that 350 area. That's the one I watched. I took the trade on it. And because the price did go down, I made some nice money on it. So here is just my broker site real quick to give you a little bit of context. And you can see that ultimately, after fees and everything, made $535.90. And the other crazy part was this trade in its total took about 5 minutes. So, and I don't say this to brag, I set up context because things are about to just get completely pathetic on my end. And just, like I said, no doubt about it, pathetic, but like I said, that's just how crazy the voices can be. But $535.90 in 5 minutes on that Facebook trade. Now, again, real quickly, keep in mind, I alerted that Facebook, which you saw, but also I alerted that MRNA, that 429 mark as a flush point, wanting to see the price go down. So while I was trading Facebook, what was going on with mRNA? So just like Facebook, that green line there is representing the 429 mark. And once more, just to reiterate, want to see prices go down. So what happened with MRNA? Well, price came down there, did break it, and then, okay, kept on going. Okay, kept on going some more. Okay, kept on going some more. So at this point, from 429 down to 420, that's a $9 drop. But oh, it wasn't over yet. Nope, still wasn't over. Down to 416. So from 429, that's a $13 per share drop before it finally did kind of recover. Eventually did go down even lower, but as you can see right there. But let's just use it from the 416 mark. So what was going on? What was the voice that showed up? Maybe you've been here. Maybe you know exactly what I'm going to say next. But the voice that showed up made me think that it was a bad morning. Wait, what? Clay, but you just said you made 530 something bucks in 5 minutes. And you're telling me that all of a sudden now you thought it was a bad morning? Yeah, I thought I had done something wrong. I thought that it was a bad morning and I felt just absolutely terrible. But can you see why? Can you see what maybe the voices in my head were doing? What were they doing? They were saying, Clay, why weren't you trading MRNA? Why did you pick Facebook? Facebook, I mean, yeah, you made a little bit of money on it, but look at MRNA. Look how much money you could have made on it. Good old hindsight, right? Good old, have you ever been there before? Where you have your watch list and you choose something, and this doesn't pertain to stocks, right? This could be futures or crypto or options or anything, but you have your watch list, you have your setups, you've done your homework, and you take a trade. It's a great trade. You do well on it, but then you find yourself in the spot where you're thinking, you did something wrong. Like you messed up. And no, yes, the voice are going to say, well, but Clay, you did mess up. You should have taken MRNA. But what are the voices conveniently doing? Well, they're conveniently leaving out the fact that they are lecturing you. They are judging you in hindsight, right? Of course, if you knew what was going to happen, you would have chosen, in my situation, I would have chosen MRNA. Of course, in hindsight, but obviously I didn't have hindsight. You didn't have hindsight when you experienced these moments. But think about how crazy it is, where the voices had me thinking, had me feeling like I had done something wrong when I had actually made over $500 in about 5 minutes. Isn't that crazy? But that is why so many day traders fail, because they just don't realize how savage and tricky the voices can be. And that's what trading is actually all about. I realize my slogan is trade without emotion, but you're always going to have emotion. The key is, can you identify the emotion? Can you identify the voices and what they're trying to do? And as upset as they had me feeling, as frustrated, as like, wow, that wasn't a very good morning, Clay. Eventually, I just had to acknowledge, but I see what's going on here. The voices are all about judging in hindsight. Now, again, the voice don't show up and say, well, in hindsight, no, they're just going to say, why didn't you pick such and such? Why did you do this? Even though this produced profits for you, you could have done that. And it's all being done in hindsight. So situations like this, like I said, can cause, and I've been here before, so by no means am I sitting here from my perch lecturing down at you mere peasants because I am perfect. I've always been perfect. I have everything figured out, and nothing like that. I have been here where you start off doing well. You start off in the green. You start off with a winning trade or a couple winning trades, but somehow you feel like I need more. But why do you need more? It's because there's something in you. There's one of these voices that are implying, what you've done so far is just not good enough. In other words, you're not really grateful for the results that you have. And I did a video on this not that long ago where I talked about a great attitude to have to fight off a situation like this is to be grateful. So yes, at the end of the day, I was more than grateful because when you think about it, how crazy is it? Made 530 some bucks in 5 minutes. I mean, that's something to be grateful for. And because I did look at it that, I thought, I'm grateful for it. The only thing that I did wrong was I just didn't choose the right one, right? And it is what it is. But that's all hindsight because I didn't know that was obviously going to be the case. So be very, very careful of situations like this where you start off actually good, but somehow you think that you're not trading up to your potential, you did something wrong, and then you go out there and you force a trade, you revenge trade, you suffer from FOMO, and then things can really spin out of control, and ultimately it's going to cause you to fail. And I see this time and time again. Day traders, they set themselves, and I should stop really saying day traders. It could be swing traders. It could be many different strategies. But the core is those voices show up and will convince you that even though you were making money, even though you had things going the right way, that somehow you didn't do it the right, you were wrong. Now, they're very, very clever about it, but that's why the difficult part is learning to identify these emotions, learning to identify what they're trying to make you, or how they're trying to make you feel, and then based on those feelings, what they want you to then go and do. And it's a very, very thin line, and you just need to be made aware of it. And like I said, I realize this is maybe not the most professional looking video, but I had to just talk about it, get it out there right now, record it while this was all so fresh in my mind, because all you can do is really laugh at it, right? All I can really do is laugh at how pathetic it was that somehow I thought that I had done something wrong. Somehow I needed to go and do more, even though I just made $500 in 5 minutes. Like, that makes me sound like such a greedy savage. And that does make me a greedy savage to not be thankful for, those gains. But that's where the voices were trying to lead me down. Like I said, to just pat myself on the back, at least I identified it and was able to pull back and, just stepped away for a while. I went out and shot my bow a little bit. But point being is, that would be a solution. All this. Okay, Clay, I get it. So what am I supposed to do? I mean, you can sit here and say, well, just don't do anymore. But that's easier said than done, to which I agree. So I don't know. Go for a walk. Go, if you're trading at work, I don't know, go to the coffee room, have yourself a coffee. For me, if you're, like I said, I just went out and shot my bow. But I mean, just get away from it. Get away from it. Let your mind kind of reset, and don't sit there and simmer on, I could have done MRNA. I mean, that thing just dropped and dropped and dropped. Don't play those games with yourself, because that is all being done in hindsight, and we're all billionaires in our hindsight trading account. Like, it's not difficult at all to look at now what's already happened and be like, I should have done that. I could have done that. Well, no kidding. We all could have bought Bitcoin when it was $10 a coin, right? Who cares? It's in the past, and it's all just hindsight. And I realized, but Clay, you can always learn lessons from the past, to which I agree. But the voices are going to try to make you think that the lesson is, you should have picked MRNA. You did something wrong. You better keep on trading, because you could have been so much farther ahead. And then you get upset, and then you just start making bad trades. So I don't know if you've ever been here before. Hopefully, like I said, you won't be like me in this regard. And if these situations show up, you'll be like, no, I'm still totally grateful. Like, if that's you, I'm jealous of you. I wish I had that sort of mental discipline to not even have to worry about falling into these potential pitfalls. But for me, I do have to worry about it. So just sharing it with you, and if it can help you out, just realize that keep perspective. Be grateful. Don't let these situations that are, again, I realize I keep repeating myself, but it's the linchpin. All these judgments, all these voices are coming at you in hindsight. But realize that, ignore them, and just keep perspective. Be grateful for what you have, and it'll help kind of, save yourself from these situations. But like I said, just realize the voices can be very, very tricky. So tricky, so cruel, that they're going to come at you even when you're making money to try to make you feel like you still did something wrong. So be aware of it, fight against it. And, when you start to get these emotions under control, that's still not going to guarantee that you are successful as a trader, but it's definitely going to put you way further ahead than a lot of traders out there that just get caught up in all trading is I got to know what candlesticks are. I got to know what support and resistances are. I got to know how to read a cash flow statement. Those things are important. They have their place, but the emotions, the voices, the feelings, they have a much larger piece of the potential problems and causes of why day traders, swing traders, investors ultimately do fail at trying to, make consistent money. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you like kind of these raw, maybe unprofessional type videos where I'm just, sharing an experience that I just had, let me know down in the comment section. You can leave me a comment, or better yet, leave me a comment and hit that like button. Or if you're running short on time, just hit that like button. But things like that communicate to me on whether or not these videos I should even bother with in the future. But I figured I'd kind of throw it out there, kind of a raw, nitty gritty look into the emotions, how I was feeling, how I still kind of am feeling. Granted, given I've stepped away, I know that at this point, no, Clay, you didn't do anything wrong. It is what it is. But like I said, communicate to me, by hitting the like button, leaving a comment down below if you enjoy these sorts of videos. So thanks for hanging out. And remember, don't listen to the voices. They are tricky, they are powerful, and they will ultimately cause you to fail if you're not careful. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.